Plaintiff Amanda Reyes started going to the defendant in 2019 to get her nails done. And Amanda says she is excellent at her trade. However, Amanda's suing because she paid the defendant to take a nail class and the defendant breached their contract. Defendant Johnyelle Daniels says she was in and out of the court system for 15 years, but she turned her negative hustle around and has now been in the nail business for 27 years. Johnyelle denies owing Amanda, and she's countersuing for slander and harassment.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Give me some background on your association with the defendant.
So I met Nellie in 2019 at a local nail shop where she worked. She started working there. She was new. Everybody was sort of gravitating towards her, so I decided to give her a try and see what. November 2019.
Okay.
I decided to go to her, and the hype, she lived up to it. She was very personable, very friendly. She was quick and good at what she does, which was the nails. And so throughout, from that time on, I decided to keep going to her just because how good she was. Mm-hmm. She was even so good that she stated that she did celebrity nails like Megan Thee Stallion and stuff like that. So it was really a good opportunity to keep going to her because she was great.
Good. Give me some background on yourself and your business.
Okay, well, I'm Johnyelle Daniels. I've been in this nail game for 27 years, Judge. She met me, like she stated, November 19. It's kind of emotional for me, Judge, because my background entails I've been incarcerated. For 15 years of my life, Judge, I was in and out of the court system. I turned my negative hustle, which was identity theft, credit card, check fraud, I turned that all into a positive hustle. When they sentenced me, Judge, they wanted me to do almost 15 years. I was $100K away from it being a federal case. I sat in the Lake County Jail for approximately a year fighting for my case. They sent me to work release. There in work release, I became Nellie Nails. I went to beauty college in 2004. I got my nail license while I was in work release. I got out, I started building my brand for Nellie Nails. And I'm here today with you.
And she's complimenting very good. She's complimenting you as the best she knows, and that says a lot. And I'm proud of your transformation, and you are absolutely a prototype of hustlers, and that is when they convert that street hustle, particularly if they were at a higher level or something that took a little maneuvering and skill set of some sort. They out hustle everybody in the square world when they turn their life around, because they're thinking angles. They think all the time about what they're trying to do, because that's what they had to do when they were in the street. You had to think all the time in several areas, whether you're going to get caught by the police, whether one of your partners are going to snitch, whether you're going to fall out over money, whether the enemy is going to get you, this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other. You're thinking 5 different angles all the time. And so when you get into corporate America or in the business for yourself and you're able to think of 5 different angles all the time, you sleep, your work, when you wake up, at least think in your mind, when you wake up, because you're waking up 6 a.m. to sell the dope fiends. If you're in the dope game, if you're in that game, you're waking up to wait on the office clerks to come in, or administrative people, so that you can game them with the fraud. So you're thinking of new ways to game them. You're thinking of whether you're gonna get cracked. You're thinking of whether this and that and the other. All those things, you switch it to a positive thought process, and you'll outcompete everybody. I use myself all the time, as you all know, as an example. And I went from jail to judge, 7 months, county jail, to I was given probation after that and get my GED. And 15 years later was the youngest judge in Michigan history because I out-hustled everybody. I out-hustled all my classmates, I out-hustled all the lawyers, I out-hustled everybody because I was thinking all the time while they were having fun. Well, even when I was having fun, I'm thinking,
Period.
am I right or wrong?
Period.
That's how I go.
And I'm from the city of Chicago, 35th and State, so I get it.
Fact.
I get it.
Go ahead. All right, so what happened? What was your encounter like that caused you to sue for $3,000? What happened?
So what happened was during the course of getting my nails done in 2020, all the way through until September, we had multiple conversations about how I was interested in learning how to do nails and things like that. And she had stated to me that she was going to start teaching classes in the city that we're in, which is a little city. And so I told her I was interested, you know, something that I always had a passion about. I always got my nails done since I was 15 years old. And so it was something that I was interested in career-wise. So September 14th, 2020 is when I texted her and asked her if she had any update on her nail classes. That's when she told me all the information, that it was going to be $1,500 for a 3-month nail class. And I needed to pay $1,000 down, and then the rest could be in payments. And we would end around February. So actually, September 28th is when she came and picked up $1,000 for the deposit. She said that I had to make the payment as quick as possible because there was only 5 spots open in her class. So I let my sisters know. We all got our money together, and she picked up my $1,000 on September 28, 2020.
You are absolutely a prototype of hustlers, and that is when they convert that street hustle, particularly if they were at a higher level or something that took a little maneuvering and skill set of some sort. They out-hustle everybody in the square world when they turn their life around.
Plaintiff Amanda Reyes is suing her former nail tech, who says she spent 15 years in and out of the legal system until she turned her life around and got into the nail business.
Okay, tell me.
From there on, we were in communication, text message, calls, stuff like that. She was having plans on ordering the supplies, getting the location together, sending us a schedule. Things started going kind of weird at that point because the schedule, it only stated a certain amount of hours, 32. When she introduced the class to me through text message, it was supposed to be 96 hours.
You didn't sign an agreement?
Yeah, no, it was purely through text message.
Okay. And what did she tell you in the text originally?
Originally, the text said the location, it was the price of $1,500. The start date was November 15, 2020. It would be 3 months, 32 hours a month for 96 hours total. She told us the schedule would be 2 days a week, Tuesday, Sunday, testing on Saturday. It would be 8 hours a week, $1,000 up front, $250 after 2 months, and the remaining $250 in February.
So what started going wrong
2021.
about that?
So once we got the schedule, or once I got the schedule, it only showed 32 hours instead of the 96 hours. So I questioned her about that. Her response is that she had some vacation time coming up and she had to move things around, but we still went on with it. We still went on with our calls. She gave us, me, a list of items that we should start buying before class started, like a drill machine to do the nails, files and stuff. I didn't buy anything at that point because I was waiting to see the progress.
So what ultimately happened that caused you to want your money back?
What ultimately happened was November 16th, we had a Zoom call. I had a Zoom call with her. She had let me know that she wasn't certified as a nail tech teacher yet. She was working on it, which was a total shock to me because I was under the impression she was certified to teach. the only way that we could have a class credited towards future classes is if her hours were credited by the state of Illinois. So that was a big upset. I was pretty shocked about that. I was still willing to work with her on it, wait, and see if she would get certified in a good amount of time, because I was passionate about it. I did want to go through with it with her. She's great at what she does. I would never knock her for that.
So she never got the certification?
No. So November 16th is when she told us that she was going to push the class to December 6th.
No, when did she tell you she wasn't, she didn't have her instructor's license?
November.
Or certification?
November 9th. But I was
So why are we talking about December 6th? It was over. It was over when she said, I don't have the certification. You said, if she don't have the certification, then I can't get credit. So it should have been no more discussion. It should have been November 9th, that's it. You don't have the certification. Now you're into December 6th. Let me get some background from you. Don't keep going with a person you know does not serve the purpose for the intended service that you're getting. You wanted her service to get your future certification. You needed the hours, and you needed those hours from a certified instructor. So immediately after finding out she wasn't certified, you should have told her and said, this is the reason.
That's true, Your Honor. She said she was going to work on it right away, getting her certification, so I wanted to give her a little bit of time.
How long did you think it took?
Maybe a month.
Okay, where'd you get that from?
Just from looking at the Illinois website of nail certification.
Let me hear from you, ma'am.
Okay, Judge. First off, let's see. Page 1. Officially, the class was supposed to start December the 6th.
This is a big deal. She said it was supposed to start in November. Did you say that?
Yes.
And this is the schedule you gave her?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Judge.
Ma'am, do you have a copy of the schedule?
Yes, sir, I do.
Could you direct me to your copy?
Yes, so that's the schedule she gave us after she changed the date.
Okay, show me what schedules you have that are different from hers.
So I have the initial text message when I signed up for the class. It's on evidence page 5.
Read where it says when it starts.
It says, the location, November 15th, will start for you. 2 days a week, Tuesday 5 to 9, Sunday 2 to 5.
Ma'am, what do you say to that? She said you have in this text that she's giving me November.
I don't have that text, Your Honor.
Did you ever say that to her? Did you ever say November 15th?
If I don't, I have. Let me make sure.
You never discussed it with her later, November 15th?
Yes, that was.
Hold on, ma'am.
That was.
Hold on, ma'am. Because you act like you can't find it. So did you ever discuss it with, where you throwing your hands up? You can't find it. Do you have something that says, okay, because I do. So I want to iron this out, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
All right. Did you ever have another discussion with her about that date? When you saw November 15th was coming? Typically somebody writes back, hey, where are we at? We were supposed to start November 15th. Are we still going to do that?
Hey,
You have it?
What I have is from November the 2nd.
So did anything change after you told her November 15th?
It did.
And did she accept that change?
She did.
Okay, you accepted the change?
Yeah, so after the Zoom call.
So what did she do wrong?
After the Zoom call, when I told her that I would wait for her to get certified is when she pushed it to December 6th. I accepted that.
Don't keep going with a person you know does not serve the purpose for the intended service that you're getting. You wanted her service to get your future certification. You needed the hours, and you needed those hours from a certified instructor. So immediately after finding out she wasn't certified, you should have told her and said, this is the reason.
Plaintiff Amanda Reyes is suing her former nail tech, who says she spent 15 years in and out of the legal system until she turned her life around and got into the nail business.
Did she try and change anything regarding December 6th?
After that point, I had no contact with her at all. She wouldn't
After
respond.
what point?
November 16th. There was no contact with her.
Why didn't you reach out about the December 6th date?
I did.
You said there was no contact, so how could you reach out? Was there contact or not?
I was texting her multiple times trying to reach out to her, but
Okay,
she never
where's
responded.
that at?
That's on the evidence of page 8, Judge.
All right, so you did reach out. She just didn't reach back.
Yes, sir.
All right, you reached out. Read where you reached out to her about December 6th. I want to hear some December 6th.
Okay. It's December 1. Are we starting this weekend, the 6th? Question mark. Did you get your certification? Question mark. That was another. All these that are green are mine.
Ma'am, what do you say? Did you respond?
Matter of fact, Judge, we constantly kept speaking. Judge, if you could check on page 12, text message, November 27th.
Yeah, but she said it's been a minute since I heard from you, just like she's saying today. I'm still waiting to hear from you. Last we talked was November 16th. That's what she said. Your evidence backs up what she said, that she didn't hear from you no more. And this is what you told me to read.
Yeah, I have reason why I didn't respond.
Why?
Okay, she was telling me that I need to certify. This is the thing. I'm a nail technician. I'm a nail technician license tech. So you telling me I need to certify, and certification takes 6 months to do, not a month. It's 6 months. And my classes was based upon, Judge, 2.5 months, critical testing, 12 to 6 on Saturdays, Judge, 12 to 3, 3 days a week. That's it. She wanted me to get extra with it. I don't have time, Judge, to get extra with it. I'm a busy nail technician. I have a business to run. On top of that, imagine
Clearly you're
COVID.
busy. You're too busy to respond to your client who scheduled a class with you and gave you their $1,000, too busy to talk back to them for 3 weeks. Did it begin on December 6th?
Well, Judge, I feel like...
Did it begin on December 6th? Please answer that question.
My classes continued on at December 6th.
Okay, so
but it didn't
your claim
continue
is
with
granted, yours is dismissed for
Oh, my God.
unresponsive. And you seem to be deceptive as well today. You misled me regarding what this text says, and then you won't answer my question. You said some slick answer that has caused you your case. Judgment for the plaintiff, your claim is dismissed. Have a good day.
I hope there's no hard feelings. I would never knock you as an artist. You're a great nail tech, and I'm just sorry that it didn't work out the way it was supposed to.
I will apologize to you. It's a learning experience because, see, when you reached out to me, I blocked you out. It took me 3 weeks to contact you. True factor. That's my bad. When you run the business, you have to be on point at all time. Proof in the pudding was right here.
Plaintiff Neil Amling rented a house to the defendant, and 6 months into the lease, he claims the defendant became erratic. Neil claims the police came to the defendant's home because he was beating his ex, and he's suing for rent and the cost of a carpet. Defendant Philip Kowalski admits that the police came to his home, but insists it was because of a traffic accident, not because he was assaulting his ex. Philip's countersuing for an illegal eviction.
Start with you.
Well, I rented to Phil about 2015, and first 6 months it was great. He was doing things above and beyond any other tenant I had do, and about
Like what?
shoveling the snow in front of the driveway,
okay.
putting up 1 million Christmas lights.
Go ahead. No offense, sir, but you know, unfortunately, there are tenants who landlords take advantage of. Go ahead.
So then about 6 months into the lease, I noticed some erratic behavior of him. And I come home one night, and I live right next door, and there's police in front of the place, and he had been beating on his ex, and they were pulling him off, and he comes exploding out of the front door into his pickup. And
You saw this?
yes,
You saw him assaulting while the police were there?
I didn't see him assaulting.
Oh, because you said the police pulled him off. I thought you saw the police pull him off the hurt.
No, this happened before I came.
Okay.
The police were there.
Got it.
And so anyway, he goes off in a fit of rage and driving erratically, and the police pulled him over and gave him reckless driving. And then,
That's all he got was a reckless driving?
to my knowledge,
Is that true?
Unsafe start.
All right, were they there regarding domestic abuse?
No, they were there regarding an accident that me and my ex got into an argument. It was icy outside that day, so as I was doing my 3-point turn, I accidentally hit another vehicle backing out because I couldn't. I have 2-wheel drive, so I slid, and then was running late for work, and then I ended up spilling off again.
I thought you saw the police pull him off the hurt.
No, this happened before I came.
Okay.
Police were there.
Got it.
And so anyway, he goes off in a fit of rage and driving erratically, and the police pulled him over and gave him reckless driving. And then...
That's all he got was a reckless driving?
Defendant Philip Kowalski is being sued by his former landlord, who claims he evicted Philip after he threatened his life in front of the police.
He's saying that you were hitting her, and that's why the police came.
No, we had an argument. I was not hitting her. They actually came because I actually hit the vehicle.
All right.
They were there pulling each other off. The police were there twice a week.
You didn't see it, you said. You have anything that proved that?
No.
Because it's just, I know people get different treatment from the police based on a number of factors, but I couldn't see the police personally observing this man beating her, and he then escapes, and then all he gets is a ticket for a traffic violation. That just doesn't...
It comes down to it. She doesn't press charges when it goes to court.
You don't have to. They will press charges for you if there's evidence of domestic violence and it can be proven without her in particular. They will press charges because of that very reason. Women change their mind out of love. The man talks them out of it. So that doesn't happen. If a woman reports it and the police and prosecutor believe it, there's nothing she can do. But my point is, so no, that's not the reason either, her dropping the charges, and therefore when the police saw him beating her, that they couldn't do anything because she was going to drop the charges. The police saw it, they take him away immediately, whether she want to press charges or not. Then they look at their evidence along with the prosecutor, and they say, okay, the woman's calling here saying she doesn't want to do anything. Yeah, we know that is the case a lot of times. Then the police and the prosecutor say, okay, but there's direct evidence. Officers, you saw it. We saw it with our own eyes. Okay, that's direct evidence that it happened and the injuries that we see on her. So no, we can move forward, and we believe we can convict him without her testimony because we see direct evidence of the assault. And so that's how courts operate now, police and the prosecutor, whether the woman wants to press charges or not. If there's enough independent evidence that convinces the prosecutor that beyond a reasonable doubt they will get a conviction, then they'll pursue it. And I think that's the right way to approach it, because there's been, the reason that law came into effect is because regularly women who refuse to prosecute, or they're talked back into love by the man who physically abused them in those recent days or what have you, they get back in the house and they do something worse. They kill the woman that time. Wow. They flip and they say, you called the police on me last time and you're not going to get a chance to do it this time. All kind. I'm just saying that those type of things happen when the woman is talked out of prosecuting a batterer. So you've never been charged with that?
I've been charged with battery, bar fights.
All right. Who are you fighting? Well, you do look like you might have a couple muscles under there. Yeah, you get rid of that stomach and maybe your arms. Lift that up a little.
You know.
You look scary then. Right now, people think they can take you. All right, and don't you even try to fight nobody. All right, I'm sorry. Let me get back to where we were. So tell me why you're suing him for rent and late fees and replacement.
So he's 3 months behind. So I come home one night and he's grilling, he's got a grill underneath a porch of the house.
How you gonna grill underneath the porch?
Your Honor.
He's right there.
You mean he has to lean down and flip the meat? He coming up with some stories on you, man.
Your
What?
Your Honor, the grill's been on the porch.
Underneath, and you actually cook underneath the porch?
Actually, it's kind of like unclosed. It's like a roof up above, but
How high?
8 feet, maybe 9. I need a 6-foot ladder to get up there.
Okay.
Well,
All right, so
but the
6
grill's
feet, I
been
guess
sitting
that's
there.
enough
But
room.
I bought the grill as a divorce present to myself in 2006.
A divorce present to yourself?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because you would need something to eat and run your wife. Yeah.
So, but the grill's been sitting there for since 2016, and he suddenly had an issue of it this year.
All right, but that's not why we're here, I don't suspect.
No.
It's the rent. What months did he miss in paying rent?
May, June, and July.
Defendant Philip Kowalski is being sued by his former landlord, who claims he evicted Philip after he threatened his life in front of the police.
And you took him to court, and obviously successful, or what?
I took him to court because I was coming up, because he's grilling. I got a letter from the fire marshal saying it has to be 10 feet away from the house or anything combustible. Okay, and the fire marshal wrote the statute on the letter, and so I taped it to his grill so he couldn't open the grill without noticing it. And so then, because he wouldn't listen to me, he's grilling after the letter, and as we're walking, I called 911 when I got home and saw him grilling. So as the officer and I were walking up to the porch to tell him not to, he points at me and the officer, and right there in front of his son says, "I'm going to kill you." And so under the law, if he threatens me or threatens to harm the house, then I can do an emergency eviction. Even though there's a moratorium on evictions right now, you can do emergency eviction when you're threatened like that. So I've never had my life threatened like that in front of a cop. So then I went next day and got the emergency eviction, and the judge granted it.
And that date was when?
That was July 2nd when I filed for the emergency eviction.
And it was granted.
And it
All
was
right, what
granted
about
on the
follow-up?
10th. It was granted on July 10th.
Okay. Applied, and it was granted on July 10th. Was there any other follow-up dates, court dates?
No.
Okay, he had a judgment of eviction on July 10th because you all were unable to remain landlord-tenant based on a threat of violence.
Correct.
Which is considered what we call constructive eviction, meaning the reason you're evicted is because you can't stay there and be safe. Defendant served, not served in open court, prejudgment, or defendant. All right. Sir, what do you say to this?
I was actually high on pain meds. I was, right before that incident, I was actually just got home from the hospital. I think I've been out the hospital like a week and a half. I was in a really bad motorcycle accident to where I pretty much lost my left arm, and they had to replace my left arm, all mechanical, so I was on, Oxycontins and heavy-duty pain medicine. So my son was actually helping me clean around the house and everything else when I was cooking on the grill and helping me do stuff, drive me around, because I'm not allowed to drive for 3 months because of my injuries. I also let him know that too as well.
Never let me know.
That I wasn't able to pay rent because when the Uber driver dropped me off, he clearly seen that something was wrong. He asked me what happened. I told him I was in a severe motorcycle accident. His exact words were to me, "Well, if you knew how to ride a motorcycle, you wouldn't flip over a car." Well, in the police report that you state that you have in your evidence, it shows that the lady cut in front of me to where I had no reaction time. And I also have the discharge papers from the hospital stating that I was heavily medicated. So if you look at evidence D, page 9, and then evidence D, page 8, and evidence D, page 7, you will see that I was in a severe accident. So therefore, I also apologize to him for saying that because I was,
And see, the problem is you weren't evicted for failure to pay, correct?
He never apologized.
No, I'm asking about the eviction.
Right.
You didn't evict him for failure to pay, correct?
No, it was for my own safety.
Correct. So payment doesn't mean anything, but he happens to owe you rent.
Yes.
That's what you're getting to. So even if you paid, sir, you would still have been required to move.
I paid him rent as well. He refuses to sign rent receipts. I have a receipt book stating the fact that when I turned him into the city of Valpo.
So you paid May, June, and July's rent?
I did not pay July's rent because that's when he took me to eviction court.
How long, what day did you move out?
I moved out on the 27th to give myself some leeway to clean.
So why don't you think you should have to pay for the time that you stayed in someone's residence, sir?
I was only there for 2 weeks. And
You were there to the 27th. That's an entire month. Why don't you think you should have to pay? Okay, 27 days, 3 days short. Why don't you think you should have to pay when you've lived in someone's house?
I get that, Your Honor, but I asked him if he can work with me on not, because I was not able to pay July's rent. I asked him to work with me, and he worked with me by evicting me, saying that he was threatened for his life.
He never asked. He never talked to me.
Well, nonetheless, the replacement of the carpet, how does he owe you for that?
Because he had a cat and he never changed the litter box, so there was poop behind the radiators all over. It was just a horrible stench.
He moved out voluntarily, or did the sheriffs come and remove his thing?
He moved out voluntarily.
Okay, and when he left, you saw what? The carpet was ruined based on...
The smell of the cat.
All right.
Your
cat.
Honor, actually, can I say something?
Yes.
I actually still have property to that apartment from this day. I was actually technically supposed to be fully moved out August 9th. I moved out August 27th. He actually came into the apartment.
You mean July 27th?
Yes, sorry, July 27th. He actually came in before I could actually go back to clean everything, and he ripped everything out. And he's already got new tenants already living there.
When did you intend to go back to clean everything?
I was actually trying to go back that Tuesday because that's the day that my son was.
I don't know what Tuesday is. Is that Tuesday the 25th of
it was probably,
August? Or?
That one.
That's good. I actually physically moved out that Friday. I was going to go back Tuesday to clean it out because I still had until the 9th.
Did you go back?
I was going to, but he changed the locks on.
How did you know he changed the locks?
Because I tried using my key.
Defendant Philip Kowalski is being sued by his former landlord, who claims he evicted Philip after he threatened his life in front of the police.
And you couldn't get in, so you called him and told him you wanted to clean the place, so if he could accommodate letting you in?
He had already had the carpet people there. So I went there Tuesday, and the carpet people had already replaced the carpet.
Okay, sir, what did he say to that? He said he intended to come and you didn't give him time. By the way, sir, if he was convinced you had moved, he has no obligation, or he's not required to just let it sit empty, knowing that the person who was moving out 30 days from now moved out 10 days instead. If you moved out, you moved out. And so if that's what he considered to be the case, meaning all his things removed?
Yes.
Was there any property left?
I had cleaning supplies so I can clean up the carpet. I had bleach. I had Pine Sol bottles there. I had mops. I had Swiffer mops there. I had my vacuum there, so I was intending to come back to clean the apartment.
There was no vacuum.
Man, I knew he threw that in. You know I know that. I believe you had the rest of the. I believe you had the rest of the stuff, sir. But you threw that vacuum in.
There were.
What?
There was 3 dustpan fulls of dirt when we swept after the carpet. He never vacuumed.
You had moved all your property out, sir. And legally, if it appears that a person has moved, you have a right to change the locks immediately. Not to wait till you'll give it to a teenage kid to go over there and use to smoke their weed and have their sex during the day when they're supposed to be at school. Oh, we got a vacant house. Mr. Kowalski gave us a key. Tell us to go have a little fun for a couple of days since he's moved out. No one's waiting on that, sir. Time they know you moved, they changing that lock. They're not waiting on you to give it to your teenage son or to your buddy and say, man, go have a rendezvous behind your wife's back. They're on me behind your wife's back. Thank you, man. You know I can't go to no hotels. Your counterclaim, $3,500 for an illegal eviction. How does he owe you?
Because due to the factor that I turned them into the city of Valpo. Back in October of last year, I turned them into the city of Valpo because the roof is leaking. It was leaking through the walls, it was leaking through the cracks. I've asked them to fix it. There's animals that go in and out the walls. You can hear them on top of the ceiling. Like when I'm sleeping up above where the ceiling fan's at, you can hear them scratching at the walls.
Didn't you have a court hearing?
Huh?
Did you have a court hearing in front of a judge when you were evicted?
Yes.
Did you tell that judge that?
I didn't have the opportunity to, sir.
So you didn't get a chance to talk?
I did, but I have with my motorcycle accident, I have short-term memory, so I lost a lot of my memory that I'm trying to redeem
All right.
from the accident.
Your Honor, when we were...
You're still gonna be all right, just hold on. So my point is, now you know.
I did tell the judge that I feel that this was a wrongful eviction because I did turn him into the city of Valpo. She did ask him questions about if he got a list of everything that he had to repair to the apartment. He told the judge yes.
Okay, and so you did mention it. You did mention what was necessary, and perhaps that's what you were intervening to tell me. But you did mention it, and the judge still made the decision for a judgment of eviction without any money against him. You would be the person that would have a money judgment against you for failure to pay. And you've admitted that you stayed there at least to the 27th of the month.
It was like Friday. I believe it was the 27th or the 25th. I don't remember the exact date. It was Friday.
You're liable for the whole month when you haven't paid without an arrangement to pay late.
Well, that would mean
can't stand a person's house up to the 29th of the month and move and say, I don't owe that. I didn't stay 30 days. I only stayed 29. Well,
no. then I would admit that I owe him $600 for rent, not the full 3 months, because I did pay him the 2 months prior because I had
May and June?
Yes, I have my bank statement.
Okay.
Defendant Philip Kowalski is being sued by his former landlord, who claims he evicted Philip after he threatened his life in front of the police.
And direct me to that.
The bank statement shows $400.
What page? I'm sorry. Page 3?
Page 3. Mm-hmm. I did pay on the bank statements. He refuses to sign receipt books, so I just hand him the paper of the receipt.
I see one $400.
Yes, but I do side jobs because this was also during the COVID-19. I was cutting yards on the side as well. And I got paid from a couple of jobs, the $250 that I deposited in my bank account.
He never put them in the box. He usually drops it off. He never was late before.
I see a payment of on April 29th. Was that for what? Was that to you?
He paid in cash.
I pay cash. It was the
So this is just a withdrawal.
Yes.
Yeah, he just
withdraw Lincoln Way Valparaiso Bank.
That's not indicative of payment to him. So I'm not sure what you did with that money.
He'd pay in cash, and I got a metal drop box. I have 2 other tenants that pay in cash, and their rent was right there, and his wasn't.
Okay.
For those
all right. I'm going to go ahead and make the decision, and that is your replacement of that carpet. That was a lot, though, sir. You didn't try and clean it first?
There was no cleaning it. The padding it's gone through the padding.
What does your receipt say on that? What page is your receipt on the carpet?
Page 9.
Page 9. You made sure I couldn't read this, didn't you? All about it. 700 labor. Total 1,075. Okay. Yeah, and a lot of times you do need to replace the carpet for urine. And cleaning won't work.
Replaced before I even moved in.
$3,025 is your judgment. Dismissing your claim, it was not an illegal eviction. It was a lawful eviction made by the judge who signed it, and you gave that judge the explanation you're giving me today, and the judge told you that was not enough to grant you a decision. So it isn't today either, and your judgment is granted. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor. No, he's just a slumlord.
I'm just glad to be rid of him. He's threatened me and has no fear for my life.